Hi guys, my name is Dave, and today on my podcast I want to talk to you about a very controversial subject about masturbation. Masturbation is very prominent among people in this fallen world because ideally we are not living in the kingdom of heaven on the earth. So we have a lot of people who think that do not believe in God, that think that it is natural to masturbate. And because they do not have a soul, they think, okay, I'm under so much stress and so much pressure. So it's I need to have something that I could get it out. So the only thing they think that their way of release is for masturbation. So what I want to do is I want to not look from a secular point of view. I want to look it from God's point of view, from a spiritual point of view. So let's identify what sin is, and then we work along those lines. What's identifying sin and why is it wrong to masturbate? So sin is a thought or an action that violates heavenly law and enters into a reciprocal relationship with Satan, indirectly or directly, is called sin. So if that's the definition that we have of sin, to have a thought or an action, so a thought or an action, so a thought to do it, I mean, we have certain laws that are given in our books, in our holy books. It tells us not to do these things. So we think and we act, then we violate God's law. And heavenly law is God's law. Violate His law, and we enter into a relationship with the enemy of God. The enemy of God is Satan. So if we look at what even Jesus said to us, so let's look at the words that Jesus said. Matthew 5:27 to 28. Jesus said, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has committed adultery with her in his heart." So the bar is very high. The bar is very high in this area of promiscuity, in this area of sexuality. So it's very clear that from a spiritual point of view, masturbation is wrong. But in reality, we got to take the reality. The reality is that it's impossible to stop because it's done in private. So you cannot have any law saying that you cannot masturbate. We are not living in the medieval period. Medieval period, it was so. They could have, if you were caught doing it, probably would have been punished. But in this day and age, we do not punish it like that. It is all to do with one's free will. So we have to we got to understand the truth and put it into practice. So it needs a lot of discipline. If people do not have discipline, then that's a problem. They have to have spiritual discipline to not to do it, to allow them to divert their desires in a different avenue, in a different way, so that it can give more spiritual satisfaction, more spiritual growth, to understand it, what sin is. Also, if you look at the Old Testament in the Bible, like I'll read you a verse from Genesis 38, of this 38 9 to 10. It's about Judah's son Onan. So let me read it out for you. Genesis 38 8 to 10. Then Judah said to Onan, sleep with your brother's wife, and fulfill your duty to her as a brother-in-law. Raise up offspring for your brother. But Onan knew that the child would not be his. So whenever he slept with his brother's wife, he spilled his semen on the ground to keep from providing offspring for his brother. What he did was wicked in the Lord's sight. So the Lord put him to death also. So Onan, that's Tamar, who really seduced her father-in-law Judah and bore offspring from her. That's a different story. But what I want to say is that no, it is not heavenly to masturbate, and every religion probably it really does discourage it. It cannot prohibit it because it's prohibited, but then you doesn't want to enforce it. With one's own volition, one should realize that doing it is a sin. It's not. It violates God's law. So it's a desire. Like we as humans, we have hormones. Like for example, the more dominant hormone for males is testosterone, and the more dominant hormone for females is estrogen. And if you look at them, and then there is also the dopamine. Dopamine is like the ignition. It's like the fuel is like estrogen, and testosterone is like fuel, and dopamine is like the ignition. And then we have estrogen, and also oxytocin. Oxytocin is like the glue. It makes people attracted to each other. So you may lose them together. So the guardrail is like the vespersin. Vespersin is guardrail. It doesn't keep them together. You have to control. So in all these things, like it is self-control. If you do not have self-control, you become like an animal because you do not know. You do not know your limits. You don't know what to do. So this is why if you are spiritually a disciplined person, you will not think about these things. But a fallen person, a person who does not have any morality, thinks that it is natural. And we have kind of psychoanalysis like Sigmund Freud, who said that no, it is natural to build up a libido. So when you have this kind of, when you do this, when you are young, when you are a child, when you do this, and then when you grow up, when you grow older, then you can have much more of a libido, that you get attracted to the opposite sex. This is totally negating the idea of God, the idea of spirituality. So we can be caught into this psychoanalysis and think that they know everything, because if you do not have God in the picture, then you can you can go along different avenues. So the important aspect is God in one's life, in one's spiritual life. So you cannot know, we do not live in a medieval society like in the old days that they had chastity bells. Like in the medieval days, like they had chastity bells that the knights wore. But it's not anymore. You have free will, and we have free will to understand, and we have free will to do what is right. Because this masturbation is done in private. It's not done in the open. It's done in the open. it's crazy if it is. But in reality, it is a very private thing that people do it, and every fallen person who does not really understand the truth, who thinks that okay, I feel good by doing it, so it releases it, and then it's okay. It's just wash, and then everything is normal. Nobody knows. But remember, God knows. The spiritual world knows that you have done it. Even though you think, oh, I have done it. Yes, because we are living in a fallen world, we have to repent. We have to say that we are sorry, and move forward. Accept your forgiveness. But this is not a problem. This is not like a big sin. It's not a big sin compared to the sin of adultery or fornication or many things that you committed with someone else. You don't multiply it. It's done with you, and that's it. But if it is done with someone else, it can be a catalyst that it can be done with someone else, and that is the problem. That is multiplied. The sin is multiplied, and then it can grow into different avenues, different aspects of sin. So it's better to repent if one does it. It cannot be stopped. It can be only educated about it. This is what I tend to do: educate people about what it is to be focused on truth, be focused on God. If you're focused on God all the time, that's Paul, the Apostle Paul says, you pray all the time, so that this kind of thing do not affect you. Even stress, it doesn't mean that you should relieve your stress because of this. There are other avenues to release stress. There are other exercises you can do to release stress, but not focus upon sexual activity. Then when children, yes, their children sometimes they do it unaware because they feel good about it. But there again, parents should guide them. It's not right to say that it is wrong. Don't do it and move on, and don't give them that thought. But when they grow older, that they have this kind of attraction, which the hormones start to work in, like oxytocin. Oxytocin starts to work in. That's the gluing hormone. And then you have vespersin. Vespersin is the hormone that gives guardrails. It allows you to be able to control it. So it works both ways, and we have to be careful because it's very important in a spiritual life or spiritual growth. So this is what I want to really talk about, the points of this talk about masturbation. It is wrong. It is wrong if it is wrong to be done. Also, as it's wrong to spill your seed. It is not heavenly. But then, because we are living in a world that is not ideal, it's not the kingdom of heaven. It's a very secular world. People always talk about it. People always have no values. They just go on their materialistic life. So doing it, and sometimes people like to do it and then talk about it, think that it's great, and think that it relieves my stress, and they also promote it. It's a cure for prostate. For prostate, it relieves it gives you. It's better that you don't have prostate cancer if you do it, because you release it. But if you do not release it, that means you get prostate cancer. This kind of evil thoughts are there, and then they think, oh, it's fine, you just do it, and it's not true. This is how the world is. The world is far from ideal. Because God created man on earth, and God's desire is to create the kingdom of heaven on earth. Kingdom of heaven is not going to come in the sky, because if you think that God, that Satan has dominated the world, and Satan has won the world. So that means God is God is defeated. No, God gets victory one time, and He will establish His kingdom of heaven on earth. It's not going to be a magical kingdom. It has to be with freedom, with absolute freedom and love. So it takes time, it takes understanding, and you and I, men and women, need to grow with this, understand this, and they can mature, and then they can achieve ideal families, and then grow into society. But it takes time. It takes time. Doesn't happen tomorrow. Or if Jesus was not being crucified, if Jesus was able to exercise his desire to even get married, because Jesus had a functioning reproductive system. Nobody can deny it. He was a fully grown man, but he had total control over it. His vespersin was very, very active, and he knew, and to control it, control his desires. So was Buddha. They did not let the oxytocin things can just attract them without being controlled. So you have to because you are human, and you have responsibility, and you can manage it. You cannot say that I cannot manage it. It is I'm human. I have no control. No, you have control. You have to discipline yourself and be a man. Be a man or a woman capable of not multiplying sin. So this is what I want to talk to you all about. It may be controversial, it may be a joke for some, maybe say it's natural for us to masturbate, it's natural. If they think like that, go ahead and do it, but it will lead you to death, spiritual death. Like Paul said, the wages of sin is death. So it is one must be very careful, because our physical lives are just blink of an eye. It doesn't last. I mean, you don't know what will happen over a period of time, right? I mean, we should be grateful that God has given us a life to 60, 70 years of age, right? Like they say, the life of a human being is 70 plus 10. I mean, I put all this on in the descriptions if one wants to listen to it. But really be kind of reflect on it. If one doesn't have discipline, yes, we could do it. We could because our body feels good, and if we get to that part, and if we have a feeling, and then yes, you can repent, because it's not like a mortal sin that it cannot be forgiven and you are multiplying. No, it's a sin that you're committing with your body, because your body is the temple of God, right? So if your body, the temple of God, you should not violate your body. But if that happens to you, it's better to repent and make determination not to do it again, because you are human. You're a fallen human, not original human being, but you're a fallen human being. You're from a fallen lineage. So you got to really understand that masturbation is not heavenly, but it can be forgiven, and you can move on. So it's not to feel ashamed about it. But if you are a Catholic, you can confess it to your priest, and probably he will give you whatever indemnity, whatever things that you have to pay. But it's better not to do it. You have to be more creative and be more wise in a spiritual sense. So thank you very much for listening, and God bless you all, and have a beautiful week ahead of you.